and hello and welcome. When you hear the music and you see the graphics, you know it's Beyond the Headlines on GBN Television. I'm your host, Odette Campbell, and tonight we're doing a PTC, Parent Teachers Conference, and we're looking at education in the new environment. And we have a panel tonight that is very well-rounded. We have 7 members of the panel, and I'll go straight into introducing them. And if we have the screens, I'll go in order. We have Ms. Jasmine Miller. She's at the top left-hand corner. That's my left. Director of Administration at the Grace Lutheran School. We have Ms. Stephanie John, the principal at Alpha Junior School. Mr. Cecil Noel, he is the president of the Parent Teachers Association of St. Joseph's Convent. We have Mr. Kester Elcock, that is second row left of the Grenada Junior Academy. In the middle, we have Ms. Alina John. She is a parent and she's a psychology student. We have Ms. Stasia Blake on the extreme right, second level, and she is associated with the Hamax Educational Center. And we have, coming to the third row, Mr. Reuben Mains. He is the principal at the Berean Christian Academy, and we also have with us this evening, I introduced Ms. Miller already. So is that Ms. Elizabeth Forsyth? Ms. Forsyth, good evening and welcome. I hadn't seen you on the test screen. That's what happened. So let me just say a very special good evening to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us on tonight's PTC. We're having a virtual PTC. COVID is throwing all these new challenges and opportunities at us, and we're happy to have it. Let's start with a parent, and I'm going to go to Mr. Cecil Noel. Mr. Noel, we have heard from the Ministry of Education, we've heard from various officials on what is to happen, what should not happen. As a parent, let's start with your experience. How has this been for you thus far?
Well, it has been, I must say, it's basically a learning curve. It's a new experience, but at the same time, one that I think we ought to embrace, okay? You know, we have seen what happened over the couple of months prior to returning to school. And I think really and truly what we're looking at is something that undoubtedly we have to get into, which is a mixture now of classroom learning and virtual online learning. So as I say, something that one way or the other we need to embrace. I think the sooner we do it, the better it's going to be for ourselves, for our children, and of course the teachers as well, because we all have our parts to play.
And so, Mr. Noel, we will come back to get some more perspectives. We're staying with the parents for the time being. Alina Roberts. Alina, you are a teacher by profession, but now you are pursuing a bachelor's in psychology. You're also a parent. Tell us about your experience from March to now. All right.
Good night to everyone. It has really been a challenging time since COVID would have hit us. It's really a new experience, and with it came a lot of challenges. For example, it wasn't the usual September going back, and as a parent, in your mind, you were juggling so many things, whether you felt comfortable enough to send your child back to the face-to-face interaction at school. So it has been a lot as a parent, and even to juggling work, because most parents would have been working, and now some of the schools have probably just 2 days, and now you have to make an arrangement for the children. So it has been a tough journey, but hoping day by day.
Great. Let's start now with our school teachers and our principals. We're going to Grace Lutheran. Ms. Jasmine Miller, she's the Director of Administration at Grace Lutheran. Ms. Miller, has the Grace Lutheran started its new school term, and what is your method for learning in this semester?
Yes, good night. Good night. Thanks for having me on the program tonight. We started back on September 7th. Currently, we're doing a morning and afternoon shift system, which seems to be working pretty well. Rightfully, like the two parents have expressed, it has been challenging, but with it has come many opportunities, including the opportunity for blended learning. We endeavor to go back to the regular school hours during the 3rd week, so starting next week with the new distancing protocols of the 3 feet with mask wearing, which would allow us to actually cater for all of our students. But we've had actually quite a very exciting first week back at school. The second week has started very well. We have some really amazing supportive parents, and students are excited to learn, and they're back in the classroom happy to be with friends again, and trying to follow the social distancing and on all of the COVID protocols. So we started off very well last week.
Great. And we're going to a gentleman, Mr. Elcock, Grenada Junior Academy. What it's like going up the hill, blue and white uniforms. I saw some of your students coming out of the schoolyard today. What has it been like at GJA?
Okay, first of all, I just say thank you for having me on the program, and good night to all the panelists and the listeners and viewers around Grenada. I must say that going back to school for first week, it posed a bit of challenge, but I must say Grenada Junior Academy, we've had our plans since in July, and we were just waiting for the ministry to give us the okay to go ahead and say that school reopening. And just as in some of the other schools, we've had a blended approach as well. At Grenada Junior Academy, we have actually from grade 3 to grade 6, because of the nature of the class, and going back to what have happened during the COVID time, where you had persons using the minimum competency test as one of the benchmarks for getting persons into the secondary school. We saw it fit to have continued classes for students from grade 3 to grade 6. So they are coming to school every day of the week from 7:40 to 2. From KG2 to grade 2, we have a shift system from 7:40 to 11:30, and then the next shift starts from 12 to 3. And our kindergarten department, because the classes are very small, it gives us enough room to handle them. So the pre-K and K1, they're coming from 8 to 1 p.m. The students have been quite enthusiastic. I mean, my daughter woke up at 3:40 the morning of when she heard that school was going to be open. She was so excited to get back to the classroom and meet her friends, and she kept saying that she wants COVID to go away. But we spoke to her about what the do's and the don'ts are. We did the same thing with our students, our parents at the school. We met with them before virtually, and gave them following the same protocols and the guidelines that the ministry would have given us. And we've been going pretty good for the first week, and we're just glad to be back in the classroom, and the kids are glad to be back in the classroom, and yeah, they're having a time and getting back to the business of learning.
That's great to hear, Mr. Elcock, because we've heard in some circles where apparently some of the students could not be bothered. Ms. Forsyth, First Choice Junior School, what's it like there?
Well, good evening, everyone. First Choice Junior has had some challenges as well, but there were some opportunities for change, and we try to embrace them all and see what we can do in the best interest of the children particularly. We've had some similar changes like GJA. We've had a shift system put in place where we accommodate the preschoolers up to grade 4 in the morning from 8 to 12. And then the grade 5s and 6s would come in at 12:30 to 4:30. Prior to the 3 feet allowance, the 6 feet allowance was going to put us in a real more difficult situation. But by virtue of 3 feet now being allowed, we are able to have all of the classes every day. So that's what's happening with us right now.
All right, and let's go. Mr. Mains, we're coming to you. Don't get worried. We're coming to you, Mr. Mains, and we're also coming to Stasia shortly. Let's go to Miss Stephanie John. She's the principal at Alpha Junior. Miss John, tell us about Alpha and its operations.
So good night, everybody. Good night, colleagues. Good night, viewing and listening audience. Thanks for having me on here. At Alpha Junior School, though it was a different operation, we were all excited to go back out. We are working with a hybrid system whereby the kids, they come in one day for physical face-to-face interaction, and then we go online for virtual for the opposing day. It has posed a number of challenges, but we rose to it. Some of them being, how do we cope with children wearing masks? How do we keep children safe and engaging in the learning environment? So it required of us to plan way ahead. And one of the things we noticed is that though we planned, as time went on and the dynamics kept changing, we had to readjust our plans. But I can tell you, the children are excited, the teachers are excited, and we're looking forward to an exciting year. Though it's challenging, we're looking forward to an amazing year for our boys and girls.
All right. I think Stasia has a very special message, and there's a reason we'll go to her after we speak with Mr. Mains. Mr. Mains, talk to us about the Berean Christian Academy.
Okay, good night to everyone. Berean Christian Academy is starting its 48th year. Many people don't realize we've been around so long. And we've always been unconventional. So a lot of what we're doing is also unconventional. The kindergarten in grade 1, we took the approach that it's important that children at that age have a daily routine and the daily reinforcement and so on. So in order to accommodate all the children every day at that level, we actually doubled the classroom space for kindergarten and grade 1. We had the luxury of being able to have that as an option. And of course, we installed a sink out in the yard coming in that was not there before, have a sink installed in the kindergarten classroom itself so that we stress the need to frequently wash hands. The picture you see here is what we call our learning center. Now, from grades 2 and up, we have the children on the platoon or a system where they come every other day. Now, what you see, we had to smile because we said, if you were designing a classroom to deal with COVID, wouldn't it look something like that? This is grade 2 here. And so half the children are there each day. There's lots of space separating them. There are physical barriers separating them because we take the safety of the students, of course, very seriously. And then the next picture shows an upper learning center, if he has that there, which the students shown were, yes, these are some of the CPA students. And you see the way we have it is a multi-level learning center. So in this, and we emphasize the term learning center because to us, the classroom must be a center for learning more so than a center for teaching. So in this multi-level learning center you see, we would normally have grades 5 and grade 6. So by splitting it, we actually have all the CPA students there at the same time, and then all the grade 5 students there at the same time. But the empty spaces you see are for grade 5 students. So we have them alternated around the learning center, lots of space, keeping them apart. And then on the day they're not in school, because we have an individualized curriculum, we are able to assign to them homework that really will keep them busy for the day that they're home. And then they'll come back to school, of course, the day after that and be able to check their work and so on. And so, 83% of what students learn is visual. And so we have a strong emphasis on being able to make the visual learning always possible.
Very well, Mr. Baines, and I must say that you did say that a picture paints 1,000 words, and I rarely see millions of words in those photographs, and I'm certain that some schools might be thinking about adopting some of what we see. We're going to Stasia, who is a very dear and special friend of the GBN. She has assisted us on numerous occasions with the GBN Gospel Challenge and other projects that we've run. Stasia is associated with the Higher Marks Educational Center on several of these programs, we have delved into the economic impact that COVID has brought. And Stasia, as far as your story goes, I think you have a story to tell.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me back. It's been a while, so thank you. Yes, I think we have a story that can be helpful, especially to my former colleagues. I was a principal as well, so I just like to applaud all of you for just adjusting yourselves to the challenges that each of you are facing. And I know that it's specific to each school, that what one school is going through may not be what another school is experiencing. So as a principal, you're kind of on your own. You're trying to figure out how to navigate your situation. And I think they're doing this very, very well. But for us, I know that a lot of people are under the impression that Higher Marks closed as a result of COVID. We did not. We did not close as a result of COVID. We had already made the decision to close. However, now that COVID is here, we are 100% sure that we made the right decision, because based on the required protocols, we would not have been able to make this a realization for our students because our space just didn't allow for it. One of the reasons that we closed indeed was financial, but the financial component was a result of our spacing, in that we were basically at capacity. We had space for 10 more students. And even if we allowed 10 more students into the program, it wouldn't allow for the funds to run the program effectively. Now, if we had been asked to allow for social distancing, we didn't have the space for that even at that time, much less if this year we had been asked to put in extra sinks and all of these things. It just wasn't financially feasible. And so we made that decision at the beginning of the second term, actually, but we announced it in the third term. So that was our situation, but it is certainly my hope that no other school will have to make that tough decision. But we are glad to know that many of our students are with the principals here, at every school here, as a matter of fact. Our children are with you, and we know that they are safe and they'll be taken care of in their new environment.
So, Stasia, you said you had already made that decision, but you're looking at the financial implications of this, and your word to schools that are just holding on by a slim thread is what?
At the end of the day, your client is the student, and your obligation is to offer not only a safe program, but an effective program. If your finances are going to keep you from doing either of the two, then it is in the best interest of the student that you stop. This is not about, putting your chin to the work and just doing the best you can. These are children's lives at stake. It's not just about health, it's their education. And if it's possible that somebody else can carry on from where you left off, then you should do that. If there's any way that you can get assistance and continue offering your excellent program, then you should do that. But it's whatever is best for the student. In our situation, we looked at the best interest of our students, and we knew that it would be better for them, that we had taken them as far as we could as a school, and that another school would be able to carry on our good and effective work. And we see that has begun in the last week.
Good. Ms. John, let's go to the point that Ms. Blake has made regarding all the implications. So you have to put in a sink, you must have hand sanitizing liquids, and you must have all of the other protocols in place. How has that impacted the operations of Alpha Junior?
Of course, Odette, it has cost the school a tremendous amount of resources to get ready for the new normal. We have had to install, like you said, new sinks. We've had to beef up on our procurement. We've had to make many adjustments that had an enormous cost to it. But at Alpha Junior School, we believe in what we do. We value our clients, we value our students. And with the support of our parent body, we were able to successfully meet the requirements. And as time goes on, we will have to continue to tweak, and I'm sure everybody will have to do the same. But currently, we are coping pretty well, and I bless God for this.
Ms. Miller, what's it like at Grace Lutheran? Are you finding that the students are compliant? For instance, they must sanitize before they get into the gate, I suppose, and they must sanitize. There must be a sink. Tell us how that's been rolled out.
Thank you. For us, a lot of it, the support of our teachers and our administrators. So I will tell you that the first thing, we have installed hand sanitizing stations at the entrances, both entrances to the school. And our assistant principal, Ms. Stasia, Clement, and myself are actually stationed there to welcome the students as they come in and to help them, remind them that they need to sanitize their hands. We've now taken on another procedure whereby parents are not allowed to come into the building at that time. So they actually drop off at the parking lot. And so the students are the ones coming to the building to help reduce the amount of persons inside at any given time. We have done flow markers, and so we've been teaching essentially for the first week, just helping students to become aware of the COVID protocols, guiding them through. Teachers are supporting them and just going through it with them. On the first and second day of school, I actually saw teachers with their classes literally pointing at the signage at the school and, the markers on the floor as a reminder to students that they need to follow these protocols. I must say it helped having the 2-shift system, the morning and the afternoon, because we had to deal with fewer students within those first weeks. So although we're going back to our regular schedule in week 3, it really does help having the smaller numbers so that teachers can give a little bit more attention to the students as they're in the classroom. Obviously, it comes with its own challenges. There are expenses to be incurred, having to, source the hand sanitizer station. The sanitizer itself is not cheap. And as you can imagine, it's students. And so those hands pass on that thing quite often. So we have to replenish quite frequently, as well as the soap dispensers and stuff in the washrooms. I must say for us, some of it we had already have at school. So I didn't have to install new sinks because we have sinks in all of our classrooms. So it's easy for the students, just reminding them to wash their hands more frequently. And we were really blessed to have our cleaners who actually do our cleaning every day volunteer to come in to clean between sessions. So I must thank Mr. Douglas and his team at Douglas Cleaning, because I didn't have to ask them. They really just showed up on the first day, and I was very thankful for that.
Okay.
So it is going well, and I'm grateful. We are very grateful at Grace that the adjustment was not too much. And the students really, I think being home for 6 months and just hearing COVID and all the protocols, I mean, they knew the things they had to do, even without us telling them. And we give reminders, especially to the little ones, because, they get excited about their friends and they want to run off and they want to hug. But we are running our classrooms as bubbles, so the students are not coming in contact with other students in other grade levels. So it's a little tricky for some of the older kids who have friends in other classrooms, but they have adjusted it in many ways, and so it's going well.
Okay, Ms. Forsyth, at your school, with the excitement, students come back and glad to see their friends. How was that? Maintaining the protocols, but yet letting kids be kids.
Well, I think that's the biggest challenge, because having not met one another face to face for so many months, when they actually came into school, it was a totally different expectation, because they would have known about the social distancing before. But when reality hits in, you haven't seen this person for so long. You want to hug, you want to touch, you want to, just enjoy the friendship. But we've been trying to help them to understand how important it is, to follow the protocol to ensure that everybody remains safe. It was hard for me too, as a principal. I'm always hugging my children, always loving them up. So it was really difficult for me and for the other teachers to adjust as well, but we're trying. And I do agree that some of the things that we are required to do now are not necessarily new to our school, like the use of the hand sanitizers and the washing of the hands and so forth. But we've been trying to encourage them quite a lot. We did a lot of activities related to ensuring that those protocols were kept in the first week of school, and they're doing much better now, much better.
All right. Mr. Noel, as a parent, and we're also going to go to Ms. Roberts in their parental perspectives, how difficult, or probably it's easy for you as a parent to have instilled those thoughts into your child or children's brains, into their minds, that these protocols exist and you must follow them?
Okay, well, before I continue, Odette, at least, let me just take the opportunity, which I didn't do before, to say good night to all other members on the panel and, of course, to our viewing and listening audience. I'm really happy that we invited here and have the opportunity, to speak on these matters. So, as a parent, and I know you have me there as SJC, Parent Teachers Association, but maybe I had to take it a step further because I've been observing what's happening as a parent. I've been trying to help other students as well as working with other parents throughout this whole process because it has not been an easy one. So to answer your question in regards to the protocols, if you recall again, and I can't help but going back to what happened in March and April, I think without that, it's kind of difficult to set the tone. So before we talk about the actual protocol of getting back into school, we also need to remember that we had our students, if I may say it, and teachers thrown into a situation where, everything just seemed to went from what they know to be the normal to something that could have, and in some cases, were a bit chaotic to deal with. In terms of making that sudden and drastic change when we got into March and April of children having to go home and people having to now get to doing online courses and everything else. Because that in itself is some, if I may call it, a new protocol. And as been said by some of the others on the panel, though these were serious challenges for all of us, parents, teachers, the government, everybody, I think more than anything else, we must embrace that with those came some really great opportunities which we all have to grasp and deal with. For example, some of the things I hear now with regards to the protocol, the washing of hands, things being installed and all of these, I'm almost led to believe that with protocol, these opportunities presented themselves, and as they came, we were happy to grasp them. Even in some cases, they became a little bit challenging on the financial side. But in short, what would have happened as a result of COVID is that having to follow some of these protocols, it would put each and every school, I think, in a better position today, now that the children are actually re-entering the classes. So, we heard a lot on the news, we heard a lot on the TV, a lot of things were thrown on us on social media about the washing of hands, of the distancing. So it really wasn't that difficult in terms of the children adapting to that. But as been stated before, I recall, for example, my daughter, when she returned to school from 5 students and returned to school, first of all, it was like a kind of, I'm not sure what's going to happen when I go. But the day that they went to school, it was a different feeling. They came back, and as I spoke to her, she told me, when they got there, it's like they basically forget for a moment about the protocol, had to be reminded, because it was all about excitement. Not seeing the colleagues, not seeing their friends for 5-6 months, they just couldn't help it. But in as much as they're educated and they know about the protocol, there were some things that just, had to be put aside for a moment. But I think we had a lot of education on the protocol, even in case of the schools. For example, my son is also at PVC, and I must give a lot of kudos to the principals and so of these schools, including, I'm sure, these here, because a lot of additional information other than that which came through the media from government or from the Ministry of Health, there were a number of things that the schools also put in place, including guidelines for even attending your classes. on the virtual platform. And I think the teachers, the principals, we as parents, we really owe them a lot. I think they did exceedingly well. Like everything else, there'll be shortcomings, but for most part, I think these people, they have done a tremendous job and must be applauded for it.
Thumbs up to all concerned. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're doing a parent-teachers conference this evening, looking at the new normal, back to school. And when we come back, we'll be hearing from some of our parents. Some are a little too shy to appear on camera, but one of our reporters have been speaking with some of our parents, and we'll share some of their comments with you when we come back on Beyond the Headlines. We're doing a PTC this evening. It's a virtual platform. Do stay with us.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
Looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
It's new, innovative and classy, and a cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. As mentioned, we're doing a virtual parent-teachers conference this evening. We have parents on the panel this evening, as well as administrators of various schools. But what we're going to do at this time is we have some pre-recorded material that one of our reporters did speak with parents. Let's listen to some of their points of view.
I don't know, it's hard. I wish they could go back to school every day. Every day. And the hours, it's too short. Because my little 5-year-old daughter went to school last week and she said, Mommy, we went from 8:15 to 10:15. And she said, Mommy, school over already? I want to go back. You know, so the children is missing school. The hours are too short. I'm saying we almost, how much, 2-3 months COVID-free? Why not open the school? We have no cases for how many months? Open the school to the normal time. Let the children go back.
Concern is for the smaller kids, like the kindergarten and the grade 1s and the grade 2s. Most of these kids are claustrophobic. Most of these kids cannot keep a mask on for the whole day. This is a serious concern. How would these children get by? Would they be able to focus in school? That's my concern. For my little daughter, she can't keep it on, not even for 5 minutes. So with that in mind, I haven't sent her out to school as yet.
Well, my 5-year-old does take out chinos and put chinos outside to breathe. And she leaving she mouth cover. Say, Mommy, I need to breathe. I can't breathe when I have on the mask. You understand? And I don't disagree with her. She's 5 years. It's stifling when you're wearing the mask. You're breathing in hot air. And she's telling me, Mommy, it's hot. I'm sweating around, mask scratching. So, you know, I'm concerned for my 5-year-old.
But otherwise, we are working, even before the COVID come in, we are working, we have to use masks. You know, so it's not really something new to me. The only thing is the constant wearing of the mask, you know. While you're inhaling, while you're breathing out, you have to inhale it back, and that is bad for your system. Because sometimes I don't feel like, well, something inside me going, you know what I mean? Because
generally, I have a concern with the children having to wear the mask all day. As adults, it's difficult for us, much less the smaller children, you know, having to wear this mask all day. So I am thinking that they should work something out to sort of limit the time that they have the children with the mask directly over their nostril or so for the day.
All right, so we have some parents expressing concerns about some things. We have another instance which we would try to accommodate a little later, but the concerns that we've heard from that piece, the length of the school day and the wearing of the mask for the entire day. So let me go back to our panelists and let me ask Pastor Mains, what challenges have you had in terms of the wearing of the mask, if any?
Well, let me start by following up on what you just did, because I think it should be stressed the very important role that parents play in the whole process. And what we have found is many of the parents have clearly taken time to educate the children and explain to them, you know, what they must do in terms of protocol. And we can see that preparation as they come on the campus. Also, part of the process has been staggering dismissal time so that classes do not dismiss at the same time. And parents have been quite good about coming at their time and picking up the children so that we don't have, you know, too many children in the yard at once. But the children have been quite good about the mask in terms of anytime they're moving around, they must have the mask on. Actually, when they're in their, what we call student office, when they are physically separate from everyone else, we tell them in that situation they can remove the mask.
So we have a slight challenge where I think we have a little bit of buffering. So let's take a quick commercial break and get it rectified, and we'll be right back. Sorry to interrupt the point, but we have a little buffering issue here. We come back to you shortly.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us #1. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Let's Cook Grenada, a practical culinary guide to local cuisine. Learn new ways to prepare your favorite foods or try different menus from various locations across the island. Let's Cook, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11, GBN's Facebook page, and GBN's YouTube channel. If you miss it, catch the repeat Thursdays at 10 a.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, and we did have a slight challenge with some buffering, some latency on the line, and I think we have it rectified now. So, Mr. Main, sorry to have interrupted your point, but you were speaking about the protocols and how the students have been adapting. You want to just give us that in 20 seconds before we move on to another panelist?
Right. Well, I just want to give credit to parents for the work that they do in educating the children and what a difference it makes when they come on campus when those parents have prepared them. The parental role is very important in this whole process. More is on the parents under COVID, and we really can see the difference when the parents have picked up their role and helped to prepare the children.
Okay. And one of the comments we did hear related to the length of the school day. Mr. Elcock, you did mention at GJA that you have tweaked some of the classes in terms of the length of the school day. How has that gone down among parents and your students?
Well, I think that it has gone down pretty well with the students. Some of them actually want a little extra time because, again, they want to be among their friends for a longer period of time. But I think they have understood, and the parents have understood that what is exactly we are trying to accomplish and achieve based on what the guidelines we were given by the Ministry of Education, and also the COVID protocols to ensure the safety of everyone at the institution. Back to the instance of the mask, one of the things that we encourage our children to do too, while they're sitting at the seat, is that they can also wear the face shield and not just having the mask over their face and mouth for the entire period of time. When I'm giving instruction to the children, if I'm at the board, I would use my face shield, but when I need to interact closer with the children, I would put my mask on and I would go around so I can have a closer interaction with them. So my daughter also, she has a face shield and she also has a mask, so she would use both of them during the day to give her a bit of ease on that. So I think parents can also look into the face shield. It provides the protection needed because they're going to be in their seat, but when they have to move about, interact with other persons, the mask is obviously the best thing. So they're able to have get that little bit of not having hypoxia, breathing in the stale air and so on. And we encourage them every now and then. For instance, person with asthma, using our medical records at the school, we ensure that persons who are asthmatic do not wear the mask in the day, and we actually have them at a further distance sitting from the other persons in the classroom, because obviously they will not be the ones, they will not be wearing any mask or any protection. We encourage them to use face shields as well.
Okay. Stasia, we know that Hamax has transitioned and you have sent your students on to other institutions, but you having interacted, and I can tell when I see with your students how much you love and care for them. What do you think this is doing to the psyche of our students? All these different changes that they have to adapt to, wearing of this mask for the entire day, going to school for 4 hours instead of probably 6 or 7.
I think it's been quite a challenge, but to be honest, I think it's good for them. Because in life, this is what happens. The whole entire planet was shocked that this happened. We weren't expecting it. We all said Happy New Year on January 1st, thinking it would be a regular year, and it wasn't. Within 3 months, the whole world had changed, and suddenly you can only see your neighbor from their nose up because we were all wearing a mask. It's just the reality of planet Earth. The best thing that we can do for them is to help them to look at this from a global perspective. The wearing of the mask is not something that is only happening in Grenada. It's happening worldwide. And I think that when children are able to see that it's not just me, it's the children in China too, and the children in Australia, and the children, it helps to make it a little more bearable because you're not facing the challenge alone. So I really like Mr. Main's point about parents playing a major role in this. What parents say and how they react to government policies and school policies affect how the child receives the instruction. So even though we sympathize with the children and the challenges they're facing wearing the mask, because I feel the same way. Honestly, I feel like I am stifling, and I have 2 masks and I don't like either of them. But I do understand that I don't have a choice right now because it's for my health and the benefit of others. I think that if parents sympathize with their child and say, I know it's not comfortable, I know it's terrible, but this is why we're doing this. It's for your safety and the safety of the friends you love, the safety of mommy and daddy. It's for all of these people. It helps them to understand their sacrifice is not just for themselves, it's for others. So I do encourage parents, while they sympathize with their child, to help them to understand that this is necessary so that the child will not become resistant to the wearing of the mask.
So, Alina, you are a psychology student at St. George University. You teach as well, and you're a parent. One student said to her mommy on Thursday, she's like, Mommy, we go to school, and the teachers only come in and tell us, don't be sad, you know, don't get gloomy. She's like, Mommy, we are not sad, we are happy. Why do they keep telling us these things? In psychology, I think there's this thing of projection. What is happening here? And probably your caution to our administrators, to probably the students wants to get on with it. She's like, Mommy, we want to get on with learning.
In the eyes of a child and in the eyes of an adult, it's totally different. And to them, they just want to get back to normal life. But as adults, we know differently, and we still have to tread cautiously. Although sometimes, you know, we just wish everything would just wave a magic wand and be back to normal, but we still cannot let down our reins. And the best thing we can do is to be a friend with them, communicate with the child, listen to their concerns and attend to their concerns.
So, Ms. John, at Alpha, I know the Ministry of Education has set out this objective over 3 weeks where they're not pushing any new academic work. At Alpha, for your students who are raring to go, what's your approach? You following the guidelines to the T, or you've already started teaching in the 2nd week? You need to unmute your mic, Ms. John. Yes, go ahead. Ms. John, we're not hearing you yet. No. No. All right. All right, I'll come back to you on that. But let's go then to Ms. Forsyth. Ms. Forsyth, what is your approach? You're going with the guidelines for 3 weeks, there's no academic work, or you've started academic work? Ms. John, try and see if you can sort out that audio issue in the meantime.
Well, we at First Choice have tried our best to follow the Ministry of Education's guidelines. Simply because we do not think that we should just plunge into academic work, straight into academic work. That's not the best thing for the children nor the teachers. So we started off with the first week having some counseling sessions, doing quite a number of activities, COVID-related activities to help the children to, feel better about themselves handling the pandemic, being in school and that. And for this week, we are looking at diagnostic testing because we know that they've been away from school for a while. We did do quite a lot of online teaching and learning, but having had such maybe distance away from the plant itself and so forth, we thought that we should do some diagnostic testing ourselves to see where they're at, what we need to do, what kind of interventions we might need to take and things like that. So that's what we're doing this week. And next week, God willing, we're going to be doing some training session because we've moved into the e-learning platform and we have our own device that we're going to be introducing. And so we already have many of the devices on hand. And so we are going to be doing training in that area. And of course, when the ministry does send the national assessments that they've planned to send to all the schools, we would also be doing that. We are going to go into academics more like in the second week of October.
Okay. Ms. John, you think you have that audio issue sorted out?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I am. Go right ahead.
Right. My mic was unmuted. I don't know. As I was saying before, the minister did allude to the fact that we were not to, well, what was required of us was that we follow the protocols. Leading up to school, to the reopening of school, we've done extensive training to get our staff prepared. When we got back to school, we felt it was necessary for us to have orientations with our students. And so last week, we walked them through to get them to understand the importance of what has to happen and why it has to happen. We also got into assessments because our students would have lost information and we wanted to be sure at what point we were starting with them. And so this week, we have continued a bit of assessment, but we have started doing some work. Mind you, it is in small blocks because we have to think about the children's psychosocial state. And so we know we can't put too much on them at any given time. So the transition has to be smooth. So the short answer is, yes, we have been teaching, but it is in volumes that the students can manage.
Great. And one of the things we want to look at is Ms. Forsyth did speak about the opportunities. We've had to look at some of the challenges, and we want to come back to Grace Lutheran to look at one of the challenges that could come out of this. But we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. This is Beyond the Headlines on GBN Television. Do stay with us.
Do your dreams seem far away from coming true? The National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Jackpot is $260,000. Fulfilling your plans can be just one ticket away. So play today. Lotto. Play and win a lot of money.
A pleasant evening to everyone. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Draw number 3114 for today, Monday, September 14th, 2020. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Jocelyn Clark from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, and the game balls with industry standards and in a way stamped with. At this time, we should have tickets at hand because we're about to play for a jackpot of $260,000. But first, your free ticket letter. Good luck. This evening's free ticket letter is check your tickets. Your free ticket letter for this evening is O as in odd. Let's proceed for 5 winning numbers. Good luck. First number for this evening is check your tickets in the meantime. is 19. Second number. Second number is 28. Third number. Third number is 23, followed by 15. Fifth and final number. Final number for a jackpot of 260,000 is 2. Let's recap those numbers. Check your tickets. First number up is 19. The second, 28. Third, 23, followed by 15. Fifth and final is 2. So that's 1919, 2828, 2323, 1515, and 022. Your free ticket letter for this evening is O as in odd. Congratulations to all the winners of this evening's Lotto draw. Lotto, play and win a lot. When you play all the games of the National Lotteries Authority, supports sports, culture, and nation building. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
Get high making money moves with the NLA's new Aces High Scratch game with 4 chances to win. Beat the dealer's card to win the prize shown. Reveal an A symbol. And just like that, you are automatically a winner. Scratch away to win the top prize of $10,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. This evening, we're looking at education in a new environment, and we have with us school administrators and parents. We also have some parents who spoke with us, and we have some pre-recorded material. We'll air the second excerpt shortly. But I want to go to Ms. Jasmine Miller, the Director of Administration at Grace Lutheran. Now, we are hearing about all of the protocols that are in place, and we are certain that this has sent up your administrative cost. How are you, long and short of it, is managing your school fees, reflecting the changes that you need to put in place? Are you going to the blended learning where students have to get the e-learning devices?
Hey, Odette. So the first thing I have to say is that planning is really, really important. And that is something that we sought to do immediately. I mean, the government announced that schools were going to be closed March 16th. And from that point to now, we've essentially been planning, reviewing, relooking, plan A, B, C. And that's really important for us because communication to our parents is important. Communication to our students is important. So we have had a plan since June, essentially, and 3 plans, in fact. And so while it has been challenging, because we've given ourselves that time, we have been able to adjust. It's not, of course, there's added financial burden, but we were able to plan in time and adjust our budget accordingly. Like many schools, we have also taken the blended learning approach. I'm really excited about technology. My background is in management and information system. And so we saw the opportunity. I will tell you that before COVID, we also had a plan to do a blended approach. So COVID kind of like pushed us into making it happen faster. Like with many things, there are challenges. The biggest challenge I think right now for us with the blended learning approach is actually just being able to help support the parents. Because, I say to people all the time, the people who have the greatest challenge with the technology are the adults. That's just the reality. The students are there, they're very tech savvy, they're ready to go, and they just need us to guide them so they're able to use the technology for that interactive learning and to get them to the other place. And I think it's really important that we embrace, to some degree, the blended learning, because that is the way that the students are going. If you look at them more and more, they need to have that exposure. So I thought that definitely COVID brought an opportunity there. So what we have sought to do is not just deliver the face-to-face, even though we're doing full-time, but now we're also running our Google Classrooms. And so our students will also be doing a part of their learning online in terms of their assignments. And we're ready to go. While we use the first week to help, acclimate students to the new protocols and new norms and everything, I can tell you that the students are ready to engage in the learning. And we're taking it lightly, like some of the other schools, so we haven't delved into everything, but we've certainly started our review. We've certainly started to, give them the material and get them engaged in the process of learning.
All right, so how has it impacted school fees? Have you been able to cap your fees at where it was last term, or you've had to increase your fees?
Yeah, we have kept our fees the same this term, this school year, because we are offering a quality product. We're not watching down our product, even if we're not in the classroom 5 days a week yet. We endeavor to meet the objectives. And that's one of the things that we were able to do last term as well. So we're not in a situation where we have to reassess our students or do anything like that, because we actually were able to complete the curriculum last term. So all of our students went through the same mode of operation, just doing it via distance, where they were able to cover all of the topics. They were able to be assessed. They got their report cards and everything. We continue to engage with them over the summer so that we do work with the students who needed that extra support. So they're coming back in the classroom with us being very well aware of where they are at. And that's very useful for our teachers, because then they know exactly where they're picking up.
All right. Mr. Noel, with blended learning, some people are concerned that the students will get distracted and they'll be engaged in online activities other than academics. As a parent, what's your concern here, if any?
You are right, but I think Ms. Miller touched on part of it. And again, it go back. I think education is critical. And I'm saying education in the context now of parents getting on board with what happened or what's happening with the students and the use of the devices. Again, it's one of the things that maybe as parents we may have shunned before, but with what's happening now, it's a time both for us to learn how to use the technology as well as to be appraised of being able to, if I may say, monitor what's happening. And outside of even the monitoring, I think being there to be able to help our children is also critical. So again, with the challenges come the opportunity for us as parents to get a little bit more savvy and be able to assist. And it also throws the opportunity to me right now. As PTA president, I think what has happened as well during this period is that we now see the greater need for having a good structured PT organization. Because when it came to communicating on a number of matters within the schools that I'm associated with, a lot of the work were in fact done by PTAs in conjunction with the principals, and even if you filter it down through the class reps to make sure that information, whether it's information on the virtual classes, whether it was a case of sending out guidelines or whatever it is, but we really saw the need for good structure and PTAs to come on board, as well as to have things like class reps that could help the school in disseminating information and have that communication really going.
So you think
so again, we have our part to play, and I think we all have to play it. A lot of what was said by the principals, by the teachers, I don't want to regurgitate, but I think from that standpoint, as parents, we have a part to play. We got to be on board. We have to get in line with the technology. And of course, as I say, the communication, the learning is key in all aspects of it.
All right. And so, Mr. Mains, blended learning, as an educator, what are some of the negatives that could be associated with this? Mr. Mains, you need to unmute.
There we go. You hear me now? All right. Yeah, the lack of actual personal interaction, I think, is one of the drawbacks. I know you're seeing the face on the screen. It's not the same as actually having the person physically present. That's one problem. Another problem is not all homes are the same. And with many homes, you don't have somebody in the home that can be present with the student and can help guide them through that online experience. And you know, during the last term when we were not able to be physically present in school, teachers were telling me that they were having issues with a number of their students because the student was unsupervised and would be distracted and would be a hard time attending, you know, to the lesson and whatnot. And so there were a number of challenges involved. It's a substitute, but you know, my preference would always be to have that more personal, physically present learning.
And Ms. Forsyth, you did mention the fact that, you know, the students run and they hug each other, and as a principal, as teachers, you're used to that interaction. Blended learning, what will it take away from the education process?
Well, just like Pastor Main suggested earlier, the face-to-face interaction will sort of be gone for a while. But what blended learning does is that it allows for various things to happen, because you can have face-to-face and still have blended learning. That can be one aspect of it. You have your e-learning taking place outside of the school, and you have your face-to-face taking place in school, but you can also use the technology in school during the face-to-face. And that's how we decide to approach it at First Choice Junior.
All right, and so Stasia, you're listening to all of this and you're worried about what? And I'm placing a worry probably that you don't have. Feel free to disavow my placing that worry on you in terms of our children losing out through this blended approach.
Well, the truth of the matter is that when Higher Marks was running, we were using a blended program for many years. Our students in terms of the fact that they were responsible for part of their learning using a device, not that they were necessarily attending classes online. So I can say that that the benefits are there and that the negatives that have been mentioned are real. My concern is not in that area. My concern is that I think that with the decrease in the contact hours, it means that less of the curriculum can be covered. And if less of the curricula can be covered in each subject, then it means that the testing that is done at the end of the year in terms of MCT and CPEA may also need to be adjusted. So I think that even as we talk about taking it easy going into the new school year and not overloading the children with work, by starting late and by having to adjust the amount of information that is being presented to the students, it means that on the back end of this, that there would have to be some adjustments. So I look forward to seeing what adjustments will be put in place by the ministry to ensure that the expectations are not unrealistic. If we have to go back and teach things that were not taught in third term last year, that's going to take time. That means that the curriculums for this year will be affected. So that would be my only concern.
There was some concern about a possible putting of the cart before the horse, and we have one school which said that we weren't doing it the way the ministry advised, because there are some parent-teachers conferences that are taking place in the second week, and they thought that it should be the other way around, where you meet with the parents first and then with the students. I see you smiling, Jasmine.
It was interesting that because my son attends the GBSS, and I also noted that the students had orientation, and then the parents are going out. I don't know what the reason is, but it's good that we both get to go so that we get the information. But it was interesting that you noted that, because it's one of the things that was shared among a few parents as well. Why not, engage the parents and then, have the students do their orientation. So.
Could I come in a little bit here?
Yeah, and if I could ask the producers to help us with a single shot. Go ahead.
Okay. I just think it's really noteworthy that point came up in terms of the order of how things were being done, because I actually scribbled a little note here as well. You know, during the, if I may say, the kind of high period of the COVID times, we had a lot of information coming from the Ministry of Health in particular on a number of matters. And quite frankly, I hope I'm not really challenging the status quo here, but I think it's one of the things that was, in my opinion, missing prior to the reopening of schools. Similar to how we had the train going for orientation and then the parents going to the suite for the meeting. I really thought it was, or would have been a great opportunity or best place if we would have had the Ministry and the Ministry of Education working in tandem, you know, coming in and kind of giving some assurance. So, for example, as parents, we would have feel a lot easier, a lot more relaxed and comfortably if they would come and give us some stats. I mean, it's one thing to say there isn't any active case in the country, but I think if we had somebody come in directly speaking to that with respect to the opening of school and the present situation, I think that in itself would have aided both, well, not both, but parents, teachers, students, everybody in terms of returning to school and having that slack. I know because I read of it where, for example, this distancing was changed from the 6 to 3 feet and things like that, but I really do think it is one of the opportunities that would have made life a little bit easier. And having said that, I really would recommend that even during the first classes when it actually comes to doing teaching, that some of the topics that maybe can be addressed are topics specifically related to COVID so that the children themselves could be better appraised of it. And I tell you why I'm saying that. I think if parents, students, teachers, if we are more knowledgeable on what's going on with COVID in some aspects from the Ministry of Health perspective, I think it will make things easier in terms of us even obeying the protocol.
But Mr. Noel, for example, already you have some students it's seemingly suffering from information overload because people were under lockdown and all eyes and ears were glued to the television sets, and some of the students, I believe, are feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So I think it is something that we want to be cautious with. Mr. Elcock, as far as your interaction with the students, do you get a sense that they have the knowledge and information about what COVID is and how they should deal with this?
Yes. As I said, as many persons have said before to parents, because I know what I do with my daughter. We spoke to her all the time, the do's, the don'ts. We've been paying attention to what's been going on in the media. We've been following the guidelines put forward by the Ministry of Education. So I know many parents during that 2 months, because I know for the time a lot of schools were still involved in doing online classes with their students. Within that time, parents, for the meantime, you know, school was going to reopen in September. Many parents would have spoken to their kids about the do's and the don'ts. In the classroom, I see sometimes a sense of too much ease, because at times you'll have to tell them, please, you know, maintain the distance, wear the mask, or wear your face shield if you got to communicate, if you got to talk to someone. There is no longer you can go and sit in someone's face and have the conversation you used to have before. So they are aware of what needs to be done, but it just needs to be reminded about it as time go by. But okay, for instance, they come up the step, they know that you see they put their hand out for the temperature can be taken. They would automatically, like a reflex action now, put their hands out to also get the sanitizing solution on their hand, and then they enter the school. So yeah, the education is there. It's just for, as in kids, everything we do, we need to constantly keep reminding them of what needs to be done, and communicating with the parents also is a key area.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to wrap it up. We only have 20 seconds per person for closing comments. And Ms. John, I'm tossing this question to you as we close, your closing thoughts regarding the opportunities that could come out of this period. Ms. Stephanie John Alpha Jr.?
It's going to be a great opportunity. We just have to embrace it. It's an opportunity now for us to launch a little bit further into technology, into hybrid learning. It's an opportunity for us to enhance integrated teaching. It's something that has been in education for a number of years. So I want to just encourage teachers to embrace the opportunity to really have well-designed and well-planned lessons that's not just teacher-centered at all, but student-centered. And I'm sure once we collaborate with our parents, it's a great opportunity to really expand the students' knowledge and their thirst for learning.
Ms. Elizabeth Forsyth of the First Choice Junior School, your thoughts as we move forward?
Well, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our parents and our teachers for their support and cooperation as we moved into this new school term. I want to also thank the teachers for the extensive work that they did over the past 5 months of the COVID situation. We did not necessarily have too much of a problem doing the online learning. And so as we move into that new program that has presented itself, I think we are going to have a great future. And I want to encourage all parents, all teachers to, as Ms. John said, to get on board with the technology. Grace Lutheran is doing a good job as well. And I want to encourage all of us to collaborate, work together. If we can form that association that we've been speaking about in our principals meeting or private school principals meeting, I think it would augur for our best interests going forward.
All right, Ms. Miller, your closing thoughts this evening?
Thank you again. Thanks for having us on the program. I want to say thank you to our parents and to our teachers, without the support we would not be in this position. And I can't underscore enough the point that Mr. Means and Ms. Stasia Blake made regarding parents just sensitizing their students. What you say to your children is very important, and it's going to set the tone for how they interact at school and the things that they do, especially with following the COVID protocol. So while it is challenging, do have those conversations with them, do encourage them so that when they come to school, they're also ready to follow the protocols there. So thank you again.
You're welcome. And Ms. Roberts.
I just want to encourage parents, as I sit in the capacity representing parents, not just to meet the physiological needs of the children in like providing their books and school uniform, but also to meet their psychological needs and to ensure that their mental well-being is looked after.
Thank you so much. Mr. Noel, your closing thoughts in 15 seconds.
I endorse Ms. Alina's comment. As parents, we really need to spend some time making sure we have that solid conversation with our children, making sure that they're fully aware of what's happening and what's expected of them, and giving them that assurance to know that despite what, it's not the end and there are greater things ahead. It's just a matter of being focused and doing what we're supposed to do. I'll take the opportunity as well to just, from a parent standpoint, that collaboration between teachers, parents, class reps, that it must be fostered and enhanced, because it means a lot when coming to communicating and keeping the system going and going well.
Right. Ms. Forsyth, I think we had your closing thoughts. Did we?
You did.
Right. Just want to make sure I get everybody. Mr. Elcock, your closing thoughts this evening?
Yes, I just want to encourage that triangle is very key in development of the children. Parent, teacher, institution, child, ensuring that we have that communication going, so that we can continue doing the best for our kids. They need us to get that support all around to ensure that their education continues.
And Mr. Mains, this evening, your thoughts to Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, and those people listening and watching around the world.
Yes, I would say focus on the child. When you talk to a child, look them in the eye. Let them know that you are linking with them. Speak words of affirmation. These children need words of affirmation so much. They're corrected so much, they're told so much what they cannot do and so on. And we need to recognize when they're doing well, encourage them, just focus on the child.
Focus on the child. Stasia Blake, we leave the last word for you tonight.
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to each of the principals here and even many of the private school principals that are not present tonight. We thank you for making space in your schools for our children. And I know that they are safe with you. I have worked with you. And I know that each of you have a heart for the children of this nation. If you need anything at all, please feel free to call us. Higher Marks is not dead. We are still here on the island and we are willing to work with you and help you in any way that we can. We wish you a blessed school year.
Very well said.
Thank you.
And that's where we put a wrap on tonight's Beyond the Headlines program. And we want to thank all of our panelists for having agreed to participate and having expounded tonight on some of the issues. Mr. Cecil Noel, the president of the St. Joseph's Convent Parent Teachers Association. Ms. Elizabeth Forsyth, principal First Choice Junior. Mr. Kester, Elcock, Grenada Junior Academy. Mr. Reuben Mains, Berean Christian Academy. Ms. Stasia Blake, Higher Marks Educational Center. Ms. Alina Roberts, she's a parent and also a psychology student. Ms. Stephanie John of the Alpha Junior School. And Ms. Jasmine Miller, the director of administration at the Grace Lutheran School. On behalf of the entire production team here at the GBN, I'm Odette Campbell saying thank you to our listeners and viewers for having journeyed with us this evening. We'll see you again next week. So long for now.